The history of glassware can be traced back in a generalized sense to as early as 1500 BCE, with some of the oldest known vessels hailing from greater civilizations of the time, such as Egypt and Mesopotamia. With the progression of craftsmanship and trade routes ever expansive, just like the empires they were created within, glass suddenly became quite a common sight in many households, and even in trade caravans as a means of safely transporting fluid goods in a more appealing and decorated way, attracting more attention from potential buyers. But not all vessels created throughout the expanse of the Roman Empire were intricate. The jug I've selected from the David Owsley Museum of Art, aptly titled Prismatic Jug, is quite small, similarly sized to a coffee mug that could fit comfortably in one's palm. The shape, however, is not designed to be held in the hands. Though the artifact presents no harsh edges at its base, it gracefully transitions from a nearly exact square base to a somewhat oblong and smooth-edged dome that holds the neck of the rim and the jug upright. The neck of the jug is a cylindrical shape, no indication of quadrilateral shape like the large part of the base. The rim atop the neck is also rounded, but the glass has a more rigid edge as compared to the smooth and fluid design of the base. The jug sports a single handle attached at the conjunction of the rim, and neck flourishing downwards to connect at the height of the dome-like surface just before the base of the neck begins. The space between the handle and the neck of the jug is small, though enough for one or two fingers to slip through. Given the overall size of the jug, it was not likely to be heavy, even with liquid inside the vessel, making the strength of only a few digits perfectly reasonable to lift such a container regardless of contents within or lack thereof. Although this piece in particular has no immediately recognizable inscription or carving, the most striking feature of the vessel are the colors it displays. And although there is no identifiable creator, some craftsmen such as Ennion, a master glass blower in the early part of the 1st century CE, was known to have etched his name in the base of his pieces, much like potters would with earthenware creations. What is likely to be flaking and eroding polychrome or lacquer gives the jug a beautiful and eye-catching appearance. Beginning from the outside and working inwards, we see a great deal of the jug's rim, neck, and handle, as well as portions of the lower vessel, to be covered in a light rusted and almost earthenware glaze, most likely also mixed with small particles of soil remaining from excavation. The layer itself appears to be quite thick, at least 1/2 of a millimeter, but enough to see with the naked eye. Below this layer is by far the most brilliant of them all. This polychrome, as it appears, is a breathtaking iridescent mixture of violet and indigo with flecks and patches of a turquoise and even into a light chartreuse green hue. The glass itself appears to be a hazed aqua color, greener than blue in the appearance. With all the different layers of polychrome and glaze, the jug appears to have a rough yet flaky texture, with air bubbles visible on the side opposite from the jug's handle attachment, suggesting it was created with a method of blowing the glass into shape and using an outer mold to help shape the glass more easily. Glass blowing came about the Roman Empire within the 1st century CE, and those looking to make a living and learn a trade were encouraged to move to larger cities that boasted workshops and large areas of trade to easily turn a profit. While earthenware was still prevalent around this time, substances like clay were found more useful for creating casts and molds to blow glass into and expedite the process, thus creating one of the first mass productions of an object. With the combined creativity of glass blowing and the prior knowledge of clay sculptures, glass blowers teamed up with mold makers and began to produce more decorative pieces with motifs and iconography that served less of a functional purpose. Rosemarie Trentinella, with the Department of Greek and Roman Art at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, published a short essay for the museum's Heilbrunn Timeline of Art History that states, "The makers catered to a wide variety of tastes, and some of their products may even be regarded as souvenir pieces. Because of the popularity and wide availability, the jugs and uses similar to the one that I've chosen could vary between person to person. From perfumed oils for bathing purposes to wine decanters for evening meals, glassware had become a very mundane utility within the Roman Empire at this time." In a separate short essay on Roman glass, Trentinella notes that glass alabastra, unguentaria, and other small bottles and boxes held the various oils and perfumes and cosmetics used by nearly every member of the Roman society. This further encompasses the idea that while wealthy diplomats may have had more intricate and specified vessels for a plethora of uses, even the common Roman citizen owned 1 or 2 jugs or bottles for personal use within the home. The jug on display at the Duomo was most likely used for perfume or essential oil mixtures, and likely within a common household, as it lacks any truly ornate traits and is not terribly large. While trade with the further reaches of the Roman Empire became more manageable, caravanners and traveling merchants alike made use of larger mass-produced mold-blown vessels for transporting goods long distances from city to city. In today's modern era, we use and view glassware much the same as those in the Roman Empire did. We keep our perfumes in decorative and ornate glass bottles, and we serve wine in glass decanters during special meals, and we even use glass jugs and jars to store food. While the height of the Roman Empire has long since passed, today we have retained a surprising amount of similarities when it comes to the use of mundane objects. This puts into perspective how fascinated we are in a perfume jug from the 1st century CE, and how the bottle of perfume sitting on the dresser of your bedroom in the 21st century CE rarely crosses your mind. And while now what seems like a very mundane object may one day become as fascinating as the similarly mass-produced prismatic jug from the distant past.